One. What is up, everybody? It is Monday, January 25th, 26th, 27th?
Yep, try again.
27th. I knew that someone would have the answer for me. It is January 27th, and this is the Daily Fantasy InsidersTV NBA show. With me, I have the one, the only Davis Maddock, at Davis Maddock.
Hey guys.
You might recognize him as the guy that won his first 4-digit competition last night.
Oh man.
Hey, we'll talk about that sweat a little bit later. This song is the Gonna Make You Sweat Everybody Dance Now song. So, and then we have Grant Curtin, CEO of Fanium, also the guy ahead of the Fantasy Elite app, and that hopefully will be coming soon to the stores.
We're crossing our fingers. We're sitting in the App Store review queue right now. So we submitted on Wednesday, and it's just the App Store is not. People knowing when at the App Store, odds are low. I don't even know how you do that, but that's all it is. We got the app done. We're going to be making updates all the time. We're just waiting on that App Store to say,
hopefully
let there be Fantasy Elite for everybody.
Hopefully they'll come through quickly, because I know people are starting to. You got full with the beta, and people are wanting some invites. So hopefully that will come in. People are saying in the chat that I'm losing track of days. That's just okay because of my firstborn just being born. Went to the doctor's. Already got the doctor's office visit out of the way today. So we're good. The rest can just be focused on daily fantasy. And then, of course, tonight I'll focus back on my daughter. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, DraftDay, DraftDay.com, where every draft day is like the best draft day of your life. Again,
beautiful. That's
not the tagline. Does DraftDay even have it? Does any daily fantasy site really have a tagline?
FanDuel does.
What is it?
Let me log on. I know it's up there in the left corner by their logo.
Championship every day or something like that?
One day fantasy sports leagues. I guess that's not really a thing.
That's not a tagline.
You're a tagline.
FanDuel.com, where you can get your one-day fantasy. No, that's not a tagline, Davis. We need to give.
These are taglines because DraftKings has daily fantasy sports for cash.
That's just like a description.
And Draft Street has the future of fantasy sports. That's a real tagline.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then kind of like Fan Throwdown had that whole deal in there. And that's where there's a tagline. They had their whole deal in there, like little radio ad. It's a throwdown. It's not a duel. It's a throwdown.
Yeah, that was a tagline. We need to make one. Maybe we can have like a competition for Draft Day. Because I mean, they do have like the ultimate game experience. So maybe that's the tagline. DraftDay.com, the ultimate DFS game experience. Presented by. Anyways, this is a Monday, so just bear with us. I've already had a pretty interesting conversation amongst the Fantasy Insiders guys talking about nerdy accomplishments in high school. I posted on Twitter and got some great responses, like Chet_G's response that he is best known for naming the most amount of bird species in Kansas in a year. I think it was 356.
I think I'm too nerdy for this competition.
Yeah, I was about to say, Davis, with you and your what do they? It's not debate team. What do they call it?
Forensics. It's like competitive speech and debate. I was a finalist my senior year of high school. I performed in front of like 500 people.
Oh man! And Mr. Tuttle was published in some magazine with a poem called "Glamour."
No way. Tuttle writes poetry too. I'm a creative writing major. I didn't even know that.
Then tomorrow we need to talk more about this, because there is an awesome story that I need to tell you about Ben Pritchett, aka Natural Slugger, because it is a great story about his poetry skills. Ben also went to the regional science fair. I was second place in the math bee. Like, we all have these accomplishments that we feel pretty good about when we're little, and then you're older and realize That was kind of nerdy, but I want to see when what Drew's was, because you know that.
Drew definitely has to have a good one.
What was your nerdiest, Grant?
I finished 9 math classes in 4 years. Like, I don't know if that counts, but that was a pretty high volume. I was at volume amounts of math classes in high school. I just blew through them, and then I thought I was gonna do math in college, and then I just didn't end up. I just kind of, I think I burnt myself out too quickly in math. But
that's more That's more overachieving than anything, Grant. It's not really nerdy.
Yeah, I was thinking about it though.
If you like doing it, maybe.
The more nerdy thing was that it's all fantasy sports. I was like number 17 in the country in fantasy arena football. Like, I was like really good. I mean, that's just fantasy sports though. It's just this stuff. It's not anything that's I mean, that doesn't really count. I was trying to think of something.
No,
it
doesn't.
More off the board.
That's just you trying to sound cooler than you actually are. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I was a really good fantasy arena football player before. Sandbox had it, man. If they had daily fantasy arena football, man, I would have flipped up. I'm just saying.
Man, this show's already gotten off to a better start than I thought it would. Arena football, fantasy arena football would be pretty freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm still on the train that if there is a WNBA daily fantasy league, like, I would play during the summer. I would.
I would too. I would take Alina Del Don every night.
Like,
be all over daily fantasy.
It could be. I really think some site needs to reach out to WNBA and like have an official sponsorship, and they would get like viewers. I mean, people would actually watch the game just because of their daily fantasy players.
I have a question for the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how questionable is it for me to buy a WNBA jersey, like men's sizes and everything, but to buy Alina Del Don's jersey? They're pretty sweet. I'll post a link in the chat. They look pretty cool.
Stop. I already know what the chat is gonna say.
I like to do this though. I like to throw them out to the chat and let them.
Man,
to do something.
Chat
I
is.
think you go for it. I say you're all in. Candace Wiggins went to my high school, so random fun fact. Former
Dick.
She's now on the Tulsa. Oh my God, it's kind of cool. Now I also went to Candace Wiggins connections. She went to my high school. She now plays in the Tulsa Shock, like my entire side of my mom's family's from. So look at that.
Is Candace Wiggins related to Andrew Wiggins?
I don't believe so.
I know there's a Candace Parker
at La Jolla Country Day. Candace Wiggins is a La Jolla Country Day legend. Like, she was, her jerseys are everywhere. You couldn't get through. The women's basketball team at my school was so good that people would go to the women's games, and then when the men play, they just walk out. only school in the country.
Does this jersey really have a built-in bra?
No, it doesn't. It's a men's. They make
That's
them in
what
men's.
They're saying.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys though. Some of the jerseys I have, I buy the kids extra larges, and they fit fine. Like, I'm really not gonna. It's just true.
I have a friend that one time when we went into it was like in college, so Abercrombie was still cool back then. But he was like, "All right, man, I'll meet you." And he is vertically challenged also, but he was definitely going into the children's Abercrombie because the jeans fit better.
Value, man, it's value.
Yeah. And yes, and it is value. But anyways, that's enough for what we've talked about already. We're already off to a great start. So let's go ahead and just parlay that into the daily fantasy basketball situation going on tonight. There are 6 games and a bit of news. I guess the biggest questionable news that we don't really know the answer yet is Joakim Noah going to be a game time decision. If he's out,
and Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay's out.
Rudy Gay traveled with the team, though. Cousins didn't travel with the team, but Rudy is in Utah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he'll play because Achilles injuries those are really brutal. I think Thornton is probably safe, but
I think I read this morning he was out. But I read this morning he was probably out, so I'm going to proceed that way.
Yeah, so that's another situation, obviously, the King situation. I agree that I think Rudy Gay is going to be out. Heinrich going to be out as well. And Davis, you were mad in the pre-show because no one told you about PJ Tucker. Could you expound on that?
Well, yeah, I just went to go set all of my lineups because I have a class at 5, so I was hoping to avoid any like game time injury type stuff. And Tucker's gonna play, like he's probable, and the Roto World blurb said that he's gonna play. But I don't want to take a guy with a hurt shooting hand for 10K on Draft Street because if he goes like 1 for 8 or something, like that's just death.
But here's my big question though: at 5, why wouldn't you just? Isn't class like a perfect time to be managing your daily fantasy lineups? I mean, not to be a bad influence here, but like,
No, it's like an 800 level course. Like it's like I don't even think I'm gonna be able to have my laptop out.
seminar. Ouch. Fun times.
Davis, also, before we get into more of the news, last night you won $1,000, first place on Draft Street, and I sent you a message and I said, "How bad is the sweat?" And you said, "Not really." And then later on, you said you lied.
No, I didn't pay attention to it. I wouldn't even pull it up. Like I wasn't even because I was in first from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like it was wire to wire. And I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like I have the field covered. And then Ostertag fan club got zeroed out before the Kings game even started, and he was in second. And I was like, I have this. Like I'm not even gonna pay attention. And then the games were ending, and there was about 2 minutes left in the Kings game. And someone was 6 points behind me, and they had 5 guys going, and I was just like, shit, like I can't do this. So I just I told Dink on G Chat, I was like, I gotta go, man. Just text me if I win. Like I can't do this right now.
Do you think that's kind of like the easy way out? Like, don't you think you need to be a man and sweat it all the way through?
I was freaking out. I was like, I need this. Like, I can't, because they were fouling, and I knew that if like they fouled Isaiah Thomas like 3 times, like I was done. So I was just like, I can't watch this.
It was fun though for us. I mean, to get to kind of cheer you on, and you were. I mean, that's your first big win. I mean, it feels good for when that happens. I remember my first big win on Draft Day. It wasn't the worm, it was the dime, where I qualified for it was like a $1,000 entry, 5-man. And then I won first place and won $3,000. So I turned 103,000, and I was like on top of the world. But the sweat is definitely real. And I remember during the FanDuel qualifier, I went and I had to take a shower at the end. I got off and had to take a shower. Just to kind of, because it was like a 7-hour sweat. So I just need to get away from the computer and come back and hopefully see. And then the game was still going on. But it's funny. I know, other people, they go and take a walk. I mean, they can't look at it. That's when it's gripping you that bad.
I smoked 3 cigarettes in 7 minutes. It wasn't that bad at first because I won the 55 the other night, but there was no sweat there because I was just waiting for Curry to hit 35 points, which I think he got in the second quarter. So it wasn't that bad. But trying to fade a field of 200, that was too much. I wasn't ready for it.
Let's see. I guess the game going back to the game, there's not really a good segue there. But going back to the games tonight, the game that everyone's going to be targeting is the 76ers Phoenix game. It's not really a bad spread. I mean, really the biggest spreads are going to be the Thunder-Hawks game. But in the Sixers-Suns game, this is one of those games where Markieff Morris had a good night last night. Fry, not a bad night. Tonight, it's do you want to gamble on one of those two? Do you want to go with Plumlee? Grant, what is your take as far as out of these 3 guys, are you targeting anybody? Are you fading one person? You can't play 3 of them.
I've been gun shy, man. I gotta be honest. They're all guys I can recommend, but I've just been gun shy about those bigs in Phoenix. I like going with Green. I like going with. I've been going with Tucker a little bit. When I agree with Davis on the shooting hand, I'd rather not. If there's any reason I have to feel uncomfortable, I'm not like PJ Tucker that much. But I like Dragic a lot tonight. Barbosa's putting up value sometimes, but the big men, they aren't all priced. They aren't priced to the level where it's they're really cheap. for Phoenix, and it's been tough for me to go and just. I don't know. I haven't been able to pull the trigger, so I can't. I got to be honest. I probably won't do it, but they're probably good plays, and I've lost to them. So
I did something I never do, and I actually watched some film this morning on some of the Suns bigs, and this is because it spawned from a conversation I was having with Jordan last night because we were texting after the contests are over, and we were trying to figure out what to do with the Suns bigs, and I think what's going to happen is that Fry is going to play a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, the only time I've played anybody from the Suns recently was Channing Frye because the girl I was seeing liked his name and told me I should play him. So that was about. He ended up going off like 30 fantasy points, but that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, because Fry's going to need to be out there, I think, a lot.
Because Plumlee is not really going to be. I mean, Plumlee could play power forward some in this game and guard Thad, but I don't think the matchup that Hornacek is going to want. I don't think he's going to want Plumlee on Haas. So I think what happens. I think Marcus Morris's minutes get squished in this game a lot, and by squished I mean pinched. That was a very juvenile word. But yeah, I think that he probably only sees around 12 or 13 minutes tonight. It could be interesting, though, if Tucker really is hurt and his hand is bothering him, Markieff can play the 3. So I think a lineup we might see tonight, for maybe 10 or 15 minutes is Dragic, Gerald Green, or Barbosa, Markieff Morris, Plumlee, and Fry.
Yeah, or you could see
Barbosa, though. Barbosa just showed back up. This guy's not bad.
Yeah, yesterday he was terrible, though. I rostered him, and
I got 11
rewarded.
points out of my shooting guards on FanDuel yesterday.
It was bad. So yeah, obviously. DeMar DeRozan. We didn't talk about his injury news as well. I just saw that kind of pop up. So we'll make sure to talk about that next. But in this Sixers-Suns game, Dragic is going to be the man with the plan. This is going to be with only 6 games. This is going to be a game that you want to target. I think I had a cold streak last week.
Gerald Green's got a good day.
Hold on, Grant. I had a cold streak last week. This is something very near to my heart. And it was because really I wasn't being very smart. I was chasing points and I was not paying attention to the stuff that I was paying attention to at the beginning of the year. Now, I can't really blame it on the newborn. It's really just a lack of focus on my part. I have to have extra focus. So this is something that I'm going to try to do better this week is really make room for some plays in these highly high octane offense games. That's what I'm going to be trying to do. Grant, were you wanting to say something?
I was saying, I like Gerald Green tonight. I think it's a good night for Gerald Green. This is the kind of game where I could see him slashing and showing off his athleticism and having a nice game against Philadelphia. This is probably a good matchup for him. They're going to give him room to score fantasy points.
Yeah, I just posted the Zach Lowe interview with Brett Brown in the chat. But basically that explains why teams shoot so many three-pointers against the Sixers and why they do so well. It's a conscious effort on the Sixers' part. They try and defend the paint as much as possible because both of their bigs are undersized, and even their bench unit is even more undersized. So they gravitate their guards towards the key a lot more. And Gerald Green is averaging 9.6 three-point attempts per 36 minutes. So, yeah, Gerald Green is a really good play tonight.
Yeah. Green, Dragic, Fry. Those 3 are going to be the 3 main guys that I'm targeting. As far as the other side, anybody that you're looking at, Grant, from the Philly side?
Maybe Evan Turner. I don't have I've been off. I don't think I've rostered Michael Carter-Williams all year. So.
Oh, man. How much do you hate your life when he goes off?
It's rough. He's not a guy I've rostered once the entire season. So I don't see myself doing it. I can't get comfortable with his price. I should have early in the year, but now that his price is where it is, I'm still not comfortable with it. So I think Evan Turner. If I'm going anyone from Philadelphia, it'll probably be Turner. And I like Turner tonight. I think he can do well. I just don't love going. Maybe Spencer Hawes too. I could see Hawes having a nice night.
Yeah.
No idea. I don't have any great justification or reasoning for why I like Hawes, but that's a good call.
No,
Probably a
I'm
good
down.
set up to have a good night.
Yeah, I'm down with the Hawes play. Like on draft day, he'd be the one Philly guy that if I had to play someone, it would probably be Hawes, just from the upside of things. But for the most part, I think I'm just looking at the Phoenix side, and it's funny what you said about MCW because I'm guilty of like playing him too much. However, like DeMar DeRozan, him going off like all the time, like he and a Flalo, I hardly ever take. Like,
See, I take Carter Williams a lot, and I take DeMar a lot, obviously, and I take Aflalo a lot too.
yeah. So talk about this DeMar DeRozan injury. T. Ross just kind of went off. And
he's going to be like 85% owned in the 223-man double-ups on FanDuel today.
Yeah,
it's going to be bad.
He's going to be owned everywhere. I mean, he's
he's not a guy to fade either. Just play him. Like,
I don't know. He basically shoots really good from the corner. Brooklyn's defensive efficiency in 2014 has really improved. Joe Johnson is like a capable defender, capable of bodying him. Now, the shot attempts are going to be there. So on FanDuel, I'm not saying fade him on FanDuel. You need to play him on FanDuel. On Draft Street, his tag rose up to 11K. If he goes 4 for 20, which is in his range of possibilities. I'm not saying that's the most likely outcome, but Brooklyn plays at that disgusting pace. So does Toronto. He's not a lock on 11K on Draft Street.
Yeah, on Draft Street, he's not a lock. I will say that I was a little bit. Like Friday, I played him against Philly and was really upset that he didn't go off. And then the next game, he like just absolutely crushes it. But he was like in the zone. Our man Draft Cheat was posting today about his per 36 numbers. They're just not all that great. You talked about the Brooklyn pace. So I definitely think that you almost have to play him like on DraftKings and FanDuel, but you do not have to play him on Draft Street and even
like I prefer Thornton over Ross on Draft Street. There's a 2K price difference, and I think they have like the similar ranges of outcomes.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And even on Draft Day, I mean he's under 9K, but I mean still, it's like his performance is not a given. I mean, see that Philly performance like I was talking about. For more reasons why it's not a given, and you have to think with some of the other injuries like Jeff Teague also being out, he's not a lock, and I'd almost prefer on places like FanDuel and DraftKings, especially like DraftKings, they only have 8 roster spots to begin with, so everyone's gonna be taking Ross, so it's like 7-on-7. Like I like the fact that you don't have to play him on Draft Street. You don't have to play him on Draft Day. Like, you're not forced into it. If you want to, you can. It's a little bit easier on Draft Day, but it definitely kind of gives more of the variance out there to where, as a skilled player, you feel like you have an edge over someone just kind of lucking out against this. So
I think he's going to shoot a lot. I think on a site where they're not going to take away his points from his field goals, it's not really worth fading him. I think on Draft Street at 11K, that's a little bit of a risk because he could miss a bunch of shots tonight. That is, especially after he got 51, he's going to be feeling it. There's not going to be anyone to stop him from shooting. He's going to want to go out and do it again.
Yeah.
Still Terrence Ross.
So we basically have this Clippers-Milwaukee game, talking about the bigs. Want to see basically what your guys' thoughts are on Griffin and DeAndre going up against this Milwaukee front court. Like, basically, are they going to... It's only a 9.5-point lead. Are they going to destroy them in 3 quarters, and is it going to be worth rostering Blake and DeAndre anywhere?
They aren't the high-priced guys I'd target tonight, but
I love DeAndre's price tag basically everywhere, like DraftKings, FanDuel. Like, I'm slotting him in at center. His price tag on DraftKings is crazy.
We also have the whole DeAndre Jordan Brandon Knight angle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they got to run some lob plays for DeAndre.
Remember last year? Oh, the RIP Knight. Oh gosh, that was like you know that Brandon Knight's getting out of the way tonight. He's not going to stand in the way at all. We also have Al Smizzle saying that tonight is Jimmy Butler bobblehead night. So, for you guys who think that there is something to the motivational angle for bobblehead,
Ron Butler at 30 points.
There was someone posted some stats about bobblehead night on Grantland the other day. Let me go see if I can find it. But it is absolutely true that players do well on bobblehead night. Like it's a real thing.
why do you think that is though?
It's just extra motivation, and not only just the players, but on bobblehead night, the home team has like a 75% like win percentage.
Just give it away. Just do it every night.
I just clicked on a picture that Tommy G posted. He took, he said he took 30 of his games. Most FanDuel would let me 10 at each level, even though I only see 3 $25 games. But there's some new players on FanDuel that put zeros in front of their name. I'm not sure if it's another syndicate or bot or whatnot, but I'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. Tommy G, I don't know if it's more fun when he's losing or winning. As far
Either
as
way, it's hilarious.
entertainment goes, would you rather see Tommy G rant after a loss and make excuses, or like celebrate and rub it in the other person's nose after a win? Davis?
Oh God, I can't. I think it's funnier when he loses because then every game went some way it wasn't supposed to go.
Yeah.
Well, I personally thought the most funny part of my entire weekend in DFS community was when Mike was complaining about not having the right lineup, and I feel bad for Mike, but some of the responses to that whole saga were really, really funny.
I definitely think that Tommy G losing is more entertainment, but either way, it's like my guilty pleasure of the night to see basically what he's going to say. Is he going to make an excuse, or is he going to just rub it in the other person's face? It is always epic. So
you guys saw the clear. It's not safe for work, but you guys saw the clear tweet of the weekend, by the way, about a score of 261.8, I believe, that the girl posted.
No, I didn't. I saw a picture that he posted of someone that was helping him, I guess, with his lineups. I don't know what you want to call it.
I think it was a 261.8 was a very special score.
Okay.
All right, these are the stats for bobblehead night. When the player or coach featured in the giveaway is active, the home team is 10-3. Home teams are 10-5 overall in bobblehead night. There were some injured players as well as like some retired players. January 2nd, Dragic had 33 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals on his bobblehead night. And Caron Butler had his big night the other night on his bobblehead night after a day after having some sort of dental surgery.
Oh,
It is worth cautioning that Jimmy Butler is still playing hurt. I mean, every time that I'm on the show and talking about the Bulls and Butler, he does not look like he's at 100% out there.
No, yeah, the toe injury has taken all his lift away. Like, he's playing 40 minutes a night and scoring like half a fantasy point per minute.
Yeah, he's not, like, I still wouldn't play him. I mean, you can do whatever you want with the bobblehead night. He's not a guy I'd put in my lineup, and maybe it's negative bias I shouldn't have, but I watch the Bulls games, and he does not look like Jimmy Butler.
Well, yeah, and I mean, so with no lift, he can't shoot, and with his athleticism limited, he can't get to the rim.
Yeah, he'll be back next year. He'll be back next year at 100%, but for now, it's.
What about if we hear he gets a cortisone shot? Then he's back in play, right?
I think he's still in play a few different sites on draft days, 9,600.
Yeah, he could do. He's not a bad play.
That's actually a really good price on draft day.
I've got negative bias. I'm just saying. Like, I think that he's probably a decent play. I have a hard time because I watch him. Augustin, on the other hand, is just taking all the shots.
Augustin is a beast, is what he is. He is a freaking beast. The only problem is his price has gone up on most of the sites. 11.5 on DraftDay, 5.9 on DraftKings. Definitely more playable on.
And he's the same price as Brandon Knight and 100 less than Reggie Jackson on FanDuel. But yeah. I think I like him more than both of those guys tonight in this matchup versus Minnesota.
Absolutely. It's a great matchup on Rubio. And it's going to be close.
Yeah, so...
scores. Look at assists. The alternative is Mike James if Heinrich's out. The Bulls got to play Mike James if they don't play Augustin. And Mike James made a three-pointer the other day, and it looked like it was like a half-court shot. It was like you would have thought there was a half-court shot. Like, whoa, I didn't know he could shoot that far anymore. So
Mike James. The big thing is Noah. I mean, for me, that's the big storyline for tonight. If he is out, you have to kind of readjust everything.
I would much rather, even if Noah wasn't sick and like was feeling good and everything, I'd rather play DeAndre tonight.
Yeah, but it's not like playing Noah tonight. It's like playing Taj.
Taj Gibson will play a lot of minutes. The Booze Cruise is still even Boozer's got a decent matchup. Like Love's a little bit soft. I don't know. I mean, he's got a decent matchup. I just don't want to recommend him again because the last time I did, he actually worked, and I want to kind of go out while I'm on top as far as Boozer goes. Like, he had a good game last time I recommended Boozer. I was like, I didn't think it would ever happen, so I'm nervous about that. But I like Gibson tonight though. If Noah's out, that's the best play on the Bulls.
So, Dink says Taj versus Suns power forwards if Noah's out. I think that for the most part, you're going to have to gamble on one of those power forwards and play him with Taj.
Yeah, I think it's Fry and Taj is the combo you want.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
surprised that you're in on Fry with me. I thought I would be kind of the guy, because Markieff coming off a really hot game against Philly, I thought would be kind of the place that you would go. But I'm glad
that he's going to get pinched a little bit is Plumlee, I think.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good options tonight, really, for a 6-game slate. You've got Gibson, you got Boozer if Noah is out. You have DeAndre Jordan and Blake against that Milwaukee front court. You've got the Bucks, who are just terrible, and you have the Suns against Philly. I mean, there's a lot of angles to go with that, and not to mention the Hawks against the Thunder. You have Mike Scott, who only got to play the fourth quarter. Don't roster Mike Scott tonight. Just don't do it. The only way Mike Scott's going to...
Ione, though. Ione's still really cheap everywhere, and he's actually starting.
The only
Sheldon
way...
Mack, too, maybe. I mean, Sheldon Mack's playable.
Durant is really the only guy I'm looking at to start from the Thunder. Serge Ibaka definitely screwed me so bad on Saturday. Like, so bad. I faded him. And it did
I had him in on FanDuel, but everywhere else I took him out with the Durant stuff.
I mean, Sheldon Mack at $4,300 on FanDuel is a pretty solid play.
Yeah, Mack is not a bad play, and I think people are going to be off of him tonight because of his poor showing the other night when really it was like a poor showing from everybody. But I think that Mack is a fine play tonight.
And Max got some low prices. 62 on Star Street for people playing there is really, really low.
Yeah, he's 6,600
on 66, yeah.
On draft day. And again, like maybe Millsap tonight against
I don't
Surge just because
so much on Millsap.
It's just the
There's
volume.
No way I don't roster Mac on those three sites playing FanDuel, Star Street, Draft Day. I think that that's near no-brainer range, in my mind.
The only thing I want to say is that this Thunder team, is recent as like a week ago, I was like, outside of Durant, this Thunder team is bad. But Serge is on like the sickest streak of his career. He's got like the longest streak of double doubles in his career. He's got the most 20-point games in a row of his career. So he's finally playing well. And it's kind of weird with Westbrook out. Perry Jones and Jeremy Lamb have been getting more minutes. Now I know for fantasy Lamb has been terrible, but he's been giving the team like a new dynamic. So the team's finally adjusted to playing without Westbrook and they're not bad anymore. So this could easily be a Thunder blowout, I think.
No, they're still kind of bad. Not as bad.
Don't be this way.
Don't be.
They beat the Celtics. They beat the Celtics by 20 without Durant. How much better are the Horfordless and Teagless Hawks than the Celtics right now?
Yeah,
not that much better.
I will give you that game. And can I say, Davis, that you are like? Can you stand? Can you just like sit up a little bit? You were, maybe it's the win that you got last night, but you're looking like very respectable today with the Ralph Lauren sweater. Is that cashmere?
It's too cold to wear a jersey.
Is that cashmere?
I don't think so. I think it's just cotton.
Oh, well, it kind of looks like cashmere. Like you look like an upstanding young man today. Not
I mean, you gotta dress nice when you go to school, man.
Yeah.
I won't ever wear like sweats or anything. Like I always wear like some nice Levi's and some cool. I can't really wear jerseys up on campus because no one in Kansas knows what the NBA is.
Fair enough. The last topic that really, as far as game, I want to talk about is this Kings Jazz game. People were talking about Enes Kanter being a decent option there at center, especially without DeMarcus. I'm not sure how I feel about rolling the dice with him. It just seems like that's a really risky play. Grant, your thoughts on Favors, Enes, Gordon, Burke, anyone on this Jazz team?
Utah is actually favored to win this game, which is you don't see very often. They're at home against a really depleted Sacramento team, so Utah is the favorite. I think that a lot of the guys on Utah actually can provide nice value. The prices aren't going to be high across the board on Utah Jazz players because they are usually in the opposite position, which creates value. There's also a negative personal bias. Like I feel weird about playing Jazz guys because I'm just used to them being the team that's going to get pounded. Tonight, that's not the case. So I think Trey Burke is in play. I don't think Isaiah Thomas is the greatest defender.
Trey Burke's price tag on DraftDay is amazing.
Trey Burke's money. I think tonight he can cash. I think also I have no problem with trying Kanter. Aaron Gray is a big stiff. He takes up space, but he's not great. I like a lot of guys in this game. This is probably the game with the highest volume of players I'd target across the board. I think Hayward's a fantastic play tonight. And then you have value all over the place in Sacramento because of these injuries. I see no reason why Derek Williams can't have a good game again tonight. I've been rostering him since the injury. He's a guy like Aaron Gray, where he's really, really cheap. He was mentioned in Lobby's article today. Obviously, they're a guy that you can put in your team. Thornton, you mentioned earlier, Davis is a very playable guy. Isaiah Thomas on Burke is also on the other end, is a playable guy. There is a lot of guys in play in this game.
Yeah. I would say that you don't know, though. I mean, there are a lot of guys you can play, but you really don't know about this Kings team. Like, Isaiah Thomas definitely the safest play. Even Derek Williams.
Aaron Gray, though. I like Aaron Gray, where he's really, really cheap. He's going to play 30-something minutes, and he'll get you something. And Derek Williams will be active.
Yeah. Aaron Gray is expensive. Like he's probably the next safest thing next to Isaiah Thomas. Davis, your thoughts?
I really like Trey Burke and Gordon Hayward in this game. On FanDuel, they both have just really consistent. They have a price. Trey Burke at 5.7 against the Kings team that's in the bottom. I think they're the third worst defensive team in the league by defensive efficiency. They're just not good on defense, and without Cousins and Gay in there, not that those two are good defenders, but they're athletic. They can recover from mental mistakes. Aaron Gray cannot. Derek Williams is a bad defender, so I prefer the Jazz players in this game. Those two, and I got some love for Favors too. He doesn't have a price tag anywhere that I'm really looking at, and on DraftKings and FanDuel, your power forward and center slots are going to go to other guys. But if you maybe wanted to go contrarian in a GPP, I like Favors.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind Favors at all tonight. So a question: the positions aren't the same, but as far as more fantasy points, I want to throw this out there: Trey Burke at 9,600, or Terrence Ross at 8,850 on draft day.
Trey Burke.
I agree.
Ross he has a limited offensive game. I know he just scored 51 points. I'm aware that happened, but he was a starting player and was averaging less than 10 points. Now he does play with two ball dominant guards.
He was doing nothing, and also like he was at a low price. I know most of the stuff going on in our beta and elite, and he was at a low price in elite, and it's a really tight cap, and he was not picked anywhere for that game. I don't think that we looked, and I don't think one person in the beta picked Terrence Ross. So, and those are all, for the most part, it's all guys working at FI in some regard, and then a few of my friends. That's pretty much your fantasy elite beta. So I think that it goes to show you those were informed people. So I don't think you want to get too high on the Terrence Ross train. I just think without DeRozan, I would have liked him anyway. That being said, Burke per dollar is a better fantasy point. Is a better, safer pick, better pick than Ross, in my opinion, on draft day.
Yeah. I would agree. I was just testing you guys to see what you thought. I mean, Ross, the big thing was, like, against Philly, everybody thought that Ross was going to lose. He was losing minutes to Vasquez. And so people were even thinking about playing Vasquez. Well, Vasquez didn't have a really good game against Philly.
He still hasn't played tonight, though. I think Vasquez is in play. You can play Vasquez. Without DeRozan, yeah, you can't take a bad game and all of a sudden say this guy's off the board.
I don't know if I like the Vasquez play.
I'll tell you where I like the Vasquez play is draft day.
Mm-hmm.
66.50. Like you said, without DeMar DeRozan, Grant, where he's shooting guard eligible, I don't mind that play as a punt play, especially if you're targeting some of the higher price bigs and point guards. So
you have to build your lineup around Gravis Vasquez, but you know what? If you're trying to fit someone in and you need a guy and he's in the range of people you'd need, you can do that and feel okay about it, I think.
I will say that the one thing that Gravis Vasquez does have going for him is that he uses Tinder.
I saw you post that picture.
So if I was looking for a tiebreaker to play him, I mean, he clearly has some swag. So I would not hate a Vasquez play.
All right, let's talk about our sponsor, DraftDay. We've talked about some of the plays already. Just taking a look at some of the value plays. Vasquez, we just talked about. PJ Tucker, if you have faith in his hand, only 73.50. Shelvin Mack, as far as the point guard filling in for Jeff Teague. Jimmy Butler, it's his bobblehead night. I mean, that's all you need to know. Even though he's still hurt, it's his bobblehead night. Then you've got the Phoenix bigs, Phoenix players like Gerald Green. He is, I think, an excellent source for, especially the guy, if you feel just kind of meh about that small forward position tonight and don't want to use Tucker, you can always stick Gerald Green there in the small forward spot. And then you have DeAndre Jordan, who is...
Yeah, that's the price tag I wanted to talk about. Yeah. That is a super nice price tag. $12K for who I have him projected as the most points out of it. Well, Love will score more fantasy points than him, but outside of that, he should have the most fantasy points out of anyone center eligible tonight.
Yeah. Daddy Biggs in the chat says Matt Barnes over Vasquez on draft day. Barnes only 6K. So I think that Vasquez probably gets a little more minutes tonight with the injury. So that's why I would prefer him. But Barnes not a bad play at all, especially if you are looking for that small forward salary cap relief. As far as KD tonight, we know he's going to score over 30. There's no way he doesn't score 30 points. So it's like you can start that 30-point floor and kind of work your way up from there.
Yeah, but he is Royce Young. He's a Thunder beat writer. He works for ESPN and CBS. He's obviously pretty tuned into what's going on there, and he tweeted out that since Russ's injuries, Durant's rebounds are down by about 3 per game, His blocks and steals are down as well, which makes sense. He needs to be conserving his energy. Now, he did have the 14 rebounds against the Sixers. It's the Sixers that stuff happens. I think you have to play Durant on FanDuel, on DraftKings, on DraftDay. I just don't. What you're doing with your salary cap is you're trying to buy fantasy points. You're trying to buy the most possible. And when you're starting with Durant, you're starting with 45 fantasy points at a minimum and then moving from there.
Okay, so that's why I was wanting to talk to you about, like, he's 21.7 on draft day. I just don't think you can pay that. I don't think you have to pay that. Like,
are you comfortable with Aaron Gray at center?
No. I tell you what, Davis, you make a draft day team that has Durant in it, and I will make one without Durant in it, and I will beat your team.
Will you?
That's what I just said, Davis. I will beat your team.
That is some hubris.
Yes, well, I have some fantasy hubris, my friend. So we should do that. I mean, you've got your class at 5, so you'll probably use that excuse. Like,
I'm making a lineup right now.
Okay, well then we'll do it. So I don't want you Tommy Gian out of this, and you know.
I thought Mike was the one who cheated yesterday.
No, well, Mike sent Tommy an early request, but Tommy wanted to see Mike's early team before he did a late team, I think. I don't know. Sometimes I have a trouble keeping up with the thread, so I just kind of just laugh as I'm scrolling through, and I probably don't have all my facts straight. So there you go.
3-3 now, right? So now they're now even. So the big winner so far.
No, it's 3-2 versus it's Tommy. So you should know by Tommy's recent tweets. The first 2 nights it was like. Have you seen that animated GIF of Arrested Development when
George Michael is walking home and he has all the sads?
Yeah. That music they play, the dun 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 dun. It's when Junior walks in and like has his backpack and just like kind of falls to the floor. I will find it because it's an amazing GIF. But that's kind of how Tommy G was the first 2 nights, and then like slowly he's been building it back up to like he's now like super Tommy G.
Yeah, I have a team that I feel pretty good about, Dave.
Okay, well, good.
I'll screen share right now.
You played against my team, and we'll see.
If anyone wants to see it, there it is.
Oh, why would you show the lineup? Wouldn't it be more advantageous to not show the lineup and see what Dave comes up with?
No, this lineup is good.
Here you go.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that lineup, and it wasn't even that hard.
Oh man, it's just such a good. It is such a good GIF. Anyways, I think we're a bit off topic. Let's get back on topic. So yeah, Davis, we'll see tomorrow when you're on the show with Napster Man who has the better team. And
okay. Yeah, it is. That's such a good GIF.
We'll see if we can do a little bit of rapid fire right now, shall we?
Doing the rapid fire or the max? What's the?
Well, aren't they the same thing?
I've gone before and they've been different.
If Scott's still in the chat, he can answer that for us.
Yeah, sometimes it's like right after we get done with that Scott likes to change it up on us. Because like last time, I remember I said that I fell for a booby trap and only 4 out of 5. And the guy was like, well, actually, I switched LaMarcus Aldridge, and he wasn't even in the one that I was talking about. But he got 5 out of 5, so good stuff. The rapid fire, Kevin Love versus Blake Griffin.
Blake.
Go with Love.
Yeah, this is a booby trap, and Davis fell for it. Really, I mean, it's really simple that he fell for that booby trap. So you have to go with Love over Griffin. I think that one was pretty easy, and I'm surprised that Davis kind of pulled that rookie move of going for Blake. Really surprised, but such is life. Goran Dragic versus Isaiah Thomas.
It's the easiest one in the whole thing.
Yeah,
Dragic.
this is Dragic.
I think that's by far.
It is. By the way, am I saying that wrong, or am I continuing the proud tradition of Fantasy Insiders of saying names wrong?
You think it's Dragic?
No, I think it's Dragic.
It might be.
Because I'm pretty sure he's like Polish or Czech, and if he is, then it's Dragic.
DeAndre Jordan versus Gordon Hayward.
DeAndre, that one. DeAndre is on like projection systems. If you guys believe in those, he's like the third highest projected player, not on value, on like points.
Yeah, I think that this. I mean, I have mixed feelings about projection systems, but in this case, I think you have to go. I think you have to go DeAndre.
You can't use projection systems as an end-all, be-all. You have to have knowledge about lineup construction and about basketball to use them correctly. You have to know why they're saying what they're saying.
Grant, Jordan, or Hayward?
I like Hayward. Real contrarian.
Okay, that's fine. I think Hayward's fine. PJ Tucker or Derek Williams?
Williams.
Williams, just because I'm worried about Tucker's hand.
I'm going Tucker. I think Williams gets run with Gay being back in there, or Gay being out.
Does? Okay.
I'm assuming that Gay is going to be out, but still, I think Tucker has the optimal matchup. I don't feel good about it, but if I had to pick one, it'd be Tucker over Williams. Lou Williams versus Aaron Gray. This is an interesting one.
Lou Williams.
I had a friend tell me that Lou Williams is the best garbage time player in the NBA. Even with that, though, I like Gray.
You like Gray over Williams, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That one is a I don't even know if it's a booby trap. I just think it's Scott trying to mess with us.
I love when he does those with like two players who are like just like pure, like they're just gonna be in there because of injuries. I like what those.
Yeah, I think Williams is far better than Gray.
Gray's gonna sit there though. He takes up space. And he's playing the Utah Jazz, and he had a good night yesterday. He's not like fatigue is gonna haunt Aaron Gray on a back-to-back. Guy's just large, not really in charge, just big. He's gonna sit there and he's gonna get rebounds and he'll probably score as a result of the fact that he's gonna play 30 minutes. So I think he's safe.
Let's see. Mr. Tuttle says he actually got the correct pronunciation. The correct pronunciation. Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic. Right? I mean, because if it was Dragic, it would have a J.
Yeah. Well, no, not with the. It would have another G. I don't know what I'm talking about. Can we talk? We do need to talk about how Nikki Heaton tweeted at me yesterday, though.
I was trying to find that tweet and couldn't find it. What was? Do you have like a link to it that you can put in chat?
It's up on my screen right now.
I saw it when you posted that.
Yeah. So I said, "Where's Nikki Heaton's Grammy at for one of the covers that she did?" And she said, "That's what I'm saying." Yeah, boy. Nikki Heaton knows who I am, and she's about to follow me, bro. It's about to be on.
Did she follow you?
No, but she's going to though.
Did you tell her that you made $1,000 yesterday?
I tweeted out Nikki Heaton tweeted at me, and I won the $22 GPP on DraftDay. This is the best day of my entire life.
Just another Davis Maddock pickup line. Tomorrow we'll have to come up with another hashtag for Davis.
It's Davis Maddock job interviews, right? Is that what we're gonna do?
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I want to give again another shout out to our sponsor, DraftDay. They've not only the rapid fire that they have, but they also have the draft games. I think that we're seeing more and more kind of the whole industry going more to like entertainment type stuff, and Grant, obviously you believe that because you have built this mobile app kind of surrounding the whole draft experience, and we see like the pick 5 and the rapid fires, and we see like the draft games, and like the desktop version of the DraftDay draft game it was really well done. So I lost on Thursday, the one game that I played, but it was still interesting to see. And the more and more the stuff, like different contests come out, I think it's just going to help the industry grow. And the good thing, stuff is now aesthetically pleasing.
No, not everywhere.
Well,
Draft Street is the ugly. Like, it hurts my eyes.
Like the new stuff.
Like, playing on DraftKings is great.
The new stuff. Let's not offend everybody quite yet, Davis. The new stuff that's coming out, like I'm talking about the draft-based games. Like, I'm not going to name names, but the season-long, like live draft games, like some of the pay per league.
Everyone knows who you're talking about.
Everyone in the world, my fantasy league knows that they're ugly.
No,
They know.
It's also
they're great guys. I play tons of leagues on my fantasy league.
Yeah,
it's the best site to play. My fantasy league is the best site to play commissioner-based fantasy football games. Everyone knows it. NFL 10s are great.
There's also
it is what it is.
There's also RT Sports.
And RT Sports is super gross, and their daily games are like the worst rake.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Their daily games are like the season-long rake, which doesn't work. And I tried to talk to them about that. Their main games guy, and I think next year is going to be a little bit better. But the bottom line is though that like this clean, like really, like DraftDay kind of started it with the clean interface, and then like with
DraftDay is the best site. I mean, we've talked about it on the show. It's like the best site to like have lineups going, live scoring. They show the little box showing how much you're winning. Like they're the industry standard as far as like aesthetic goes.
And as the industry becomes like more about entertainment, I think you'll see more and more of these games pull up. But another shout out to Grant. I mean, it feels like I'm kind of kissing butt here, but
you can't mention Elite enough times. Okay.
No, it's not Elite. It's Fanium. It's the mobile app because it's very clean. I mean, it's very clean, and you don't see that stuff in the regular season-long fantasy space that often. So, anyway, just want to give a shout out there. Let's get to some of the questions. Dragic, IT2 or MCW.
Dragic. I've been saying it the same way for so long. Goran.
Dragic. No, Dragic.
Motion to call him the Dragon on this show from here till infinity.
Motion approved. Wait, we need a second. Davis, Grant, can you second?
Second.
Boom. He was now referred to as the Dragon.
Let's see.
Keep loading them up tonight. There's no reason not to.
I think that's pretty much the one question we have. Oh no, there's a question about Lou Will.
There's a Gerald Green versus Jimmy Butler question way up in the chat. Answer it in the chat, but I definitely leave him with the bobblehead night. I want one of those bobbleheads, by the way. I got to get myself a Jimmy Butler bobblehead, but I want Gerald Green in my daily lineups.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Tonight just seems like a really high scoring night. Tonight seems like a night where there's just a lot of value out there, and you're going to have to get the majority of your picks right to win.
We have to wait for Smiz to jinx it, because Smiz always is like, it's going to take 450 to win on FanDuel. He always does that.
Yeah. Has anyone ever got to 450 on FanDuel?
I don't know.
I'd like to see a scoreboard of like the top scores of all time on certain sites.
On DraftDay, I hit 400 once, and it was like the proudest day of my entire life.
That's sad. I mean, it's cool that you did that, but it's sad that it was your proudest day of your entire life.
Well, it got supplanted when Nikki tweeted at me, so.
I love that you use the word supplanted. Oh, man, good stuff. As always, it's a fun show. I really like doing these shows. It's really fun, and hopefully people are getting something out of it. If nothing else, just the ability to laugh at us and not with us. But anyways, thanks to Grant Girton from Fanium and the Fantasy Elite. You can reach him at Grant Girton. And then Davis Maddock, he writes for Fantasy Insiders. You can reach him at Davis Maddock. Davis, you had a pretty nice shout out from Evan Silva yesterday.
Evan is the best. He's a really cool guy.
So
Yeah, that was awesome.
I would be the fact that you're more excited about Nikki Heaton more than Evan Silva just means that you're still in college and you're single.
But I've talked to Evan. I've talked to Evan before.
No, he plays Fanium. A lot of it. Evan Silva plays in Fanium.
Yeah.
That's for.
Still, he has like 50,000 followers targeted towards the market that you're aiming towards. So, we'll see. Let's talk about tomorrow's show. Hopefully, we'll have Napsterman on. Davis, you'll be on. We'll have some more geeky stuff. I want to see if I can get this Natural Slugger poem that he wrote in high school to read live on air. Davis, if you have anything nerdy we can read on air or look at, feel free to let us know.
If you guys go to my Tumblr, I have like poetry and short stories on there that I've written.
I read one of them.
Cool. And also, I guess if we want to talk nerdy stuff, we can just let you and Nap talk about your love for Mordorf or whatever.
Stop. Don't be that way. First of all, wrong series. Second of all, not what it's actually called. So don't be that way.
Okay, Harry Potter. Whatever you call the Harry Potter land.
Mordorf. It's Mordor, and that's in Lord of the Rings, and it's not a realm. It's a place. It's like a certain location.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll see ya. And tune in tomorrow. We'll have Knapp and Davis on. We'll talk about Mordorf and the realm of Harry Potter.
Oh, hey, also, never mind.
No, go for it.
If anyone out there, because I've been doing on Wednesdays, I've been doing Draft Street pricings and stuff, but Scott made a pretty good point in the chat. So if you guys want me to switch to DK prices for Wednesdays, just drop me a line on Twitter.
Fair enough. And speaking of, Scott, shout out to DraftDay, our sponsor. Later.